Heterosexuality is the normative position. So obviously no one is ever going to question you talking about moms and dads. That's normal. But when you talk about dads and dads, or you talk about moms and moms, oh, God forbid you talk about trans people, holy all of a sudden, that's grooming. That's wrong. That's morally abhorrent. Here, let's watch. I'll be back in a second.
When did our public schools, any schools, become what are essentially grooming centers for gender identity radicals?
That is the latest GOP talking point. Republicans are now claiming that education, or even just conversations around gender identity and sexual orientation in schools or television programming, is a form of grooming children to become LGBTQ+.
There's never a time when a teacher needs to sit down with kids and tell them that, hey, you know, you're a boy, but you might actually be a girl.
This argument has surfaced in discussions of a recently passed Florida bill that, in part, prohibits classroom discussion about sexual orientation or gender identity in certain grade levels or in a specified manner. Critics are calling it the Don't Say Gay bill. Proponents are calling it the anti-grooming bill.
If you really want to talk to a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old about their sexuality and gender, that's on you. You're a pervert. You're a weirdo. I don't give a damn if you're a teacher.
Like, maybe teach the kids to read before you tell them to go trans. You shouldn't be talking to kindergartners about gender identity, especially if you're not their parents. That's creepy. You should be arrested for that.
Look, there's a reason why the Democrats are treating this bill like it's the apocalypse. All we're telling them is you can't groom young children. Yeah. And to them, it's...
This motherfucker. Oh my God. Oh my Lord. Okay. All right. This is just holy shit.
It's Armageddon. And that's because they know they have to indoctrinate the kids into this madness very, very young.
The supposed indoctrination of the nation's children isn't just in schools, according to conservatives. It's also in media.
Now it's all about pushing a sexual agenda on little children across their entertainment platforms.
You don't have to be afraid to, like, let's have these two characters kiss. Let's, in the background, I was just, wherever I could, just basically adding queerness.
They've been really open to exploring queer stories.
Disney wants to completely take your children and they want to indoctrinate them into sexual, immoral filth.
The fact that we are trying to accelerate our kids in this direction is incredibly concerning. For me as a parent,
the fact that they want to sexualize our children and our children's childhoods for their own political agenda is incredibly disturbing. Instead of making...
Okay, before this continues, I have to say something here. Like, gay people exist in society, okay? Trans people exist in society, lesbians exist, okay? You know, bi visibility, bi people exist, ace people exist. These are just like human beings, you know, just like you and I. I might be a dirty cishet breeder, okay? But, you know, this is something that I acknowledge, okay? As an LGBTQ IA plus beau, I acknowledge that these are people that are live and alive, okay? So, cat's out of the bag, guys, all right? Cat's out of the bag. Toothpaste out of the tube, okay? Can't put it back in. So the mention of such realities in popular culture is not grooming. The mention of such reality in the real world, what is going on in the real world, is not in some ways nefarious. The only people that think it's nefarious and disgusting and bad are people who are just bigoted and think that you can catch the gay by I don't know, seeing it in movies and shit. Ironically, it's grooming in the other direction when you try to hide it. When you're like, I don't want to let my kids watch that gay shit. Like, okay, what do you think? Like, you're gonna try to hide that reality from your children? That's what you're gonna try to do? You're gonna keep up this thing where it's like, no, gays are not around. That's not real. It's just another way to drum up support from some of the worst, most psychotic Republican voter base weirdos. Okay, and now they're basically saying that the mere mention or the recognition of the existence of people that are LGBTQ in media is straight up grooming. The irony, of course, which makes it even funnier, one, this is deeply hypocritical coming from Republicans who love child beauty pageants and child marriages, okay? Straight up. And pedophilia and abolishing the age of consent. Like, the are you talking about? Like, you really? You're gonna act like, you know, you care about grooming? Holy that's actual grooming, dumbass. You can't, on the one hand, want to children, and then on the other hand be like, also children learning about gay people is actually that's the real grooming. So if you do truly care about pedophilia, and you know, I do, then maybe do some housekeeping, you know, clean up your own goddamn house.
Well, it sounds like the behavior of a sex offender. I mean, normal people don't sexualize underage children, period.
We are letting them control the
Once again, saying that gay people exist or showing that gay people exist is not inherently sexual, okay? Just because heterosexuality is the normative position does not change the reality that, gay people exist in society alongside straight people, okay? And the mere mention of that in popular art as a reflection of what's going on in society does not mean it is automatically and magically sexual. However, that is the way that a lot of Republicans operate. They're like, oh, it's sexual. It's immediately. You see a gay person, you see two gay men holding hands, that's sexual. That's sexual. They're doing gay sex. Why? Why is it that when you see someone, okay, when you see two gay dudes walking around, maybe even kissing each other, okay, why is it that automatically you go to like, oh, they're having butt sex? Why? It's psychotic. It's insane. That's your fault. That's your problem. And most normal human beings don't do that. Most normal human beings don't go into like, oh, they must be having butt sex right now. They're going to have butt sex after this. Yeah, that's right. They're going to each other. They're going to suck.
Narrative here, because these bills actually aren't even about that. These bills are about censorship. Mommy, Mama, and Me, which was one of my kids' favorite books, is not allowed in that classroom anymore. So my kids can read about a mom and a dad and a child, but not two moms and a child.
Exactly. That's it. That's it. It's like heterosexuality is the normative position. So obviously no one is ever going to question you talking about moms and dads. That's normal. But when you talk about dads and dads, or you talk about moms and moms, oh, God forbid you talk about trans people, holy all of a sudden, that's grooming. That's wrong. That's morally abhorrent. That's actually sexual. That's sexual. That's deviant. You're grooming. You're grooming. You're grooming. It's bullshit. Really damaging. Really up. And it is a gigantic double standard, obviously. And this is why it's also hard to defend shit like this from a leftist position. There's a century-long effort that you have to go against when you're just literally saying, look, this is normal. Okay, this is a natural thing. Please be normal, okay?
And therefore, the message that they are being sent is that they don't matter, that their family is less than. And that is the danger in all of this. Because if we look at what's going on with our LGBTQ families and our LGBTQ youth, they are under siege right now. In 2021, 1 out of every 4 LGBTQ teen attempted suicide. Sit with that for a minute. And now this year, we've seen over 200 anti-LGBTQ bills that have been put forth. And half of those are anti-trans. And most of them are against our trans youth. What I'd love to see these politicians do is lift these kids up, is to help these kids and these families instead of pushing them down. And
it's also awesome because like they're doing the classic thing that Republicans love doing, where it's like you're a dumb guy and you're describing something that's like normal and innocuous and like a part of a healthy society, and you're turning it into like a nefarious secret thing. It's like, ooh, did you guys know? Here, I'll describe it to you. You mean to tell me that I, as a red-blooded American, have popped out my child and have to send him to this other institution that the government controls, where an adult is taking care of that child and putting filthy communist propaganda like sharing is caring in the minds of my child, telling him that incest is not right? How dare you? Public education. You can make anything sound insane if you are relying on how stupid your captive audience is. And that is precisely what they do with the CRT stuff, and that's precisely what they're doing with the anti-LGBT stuff now, okay? You mean to tell me that the government is gonna assign a number for me at birth and document every little thing I goddamn do? Are you out of your mind? No way in hell. Social Security. If you describe it like that to a bunch of psychotic wingnuts, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, you're right, brother. You're right. That's bullshit. We need to fight against that.